Okay, come on. Okay, so today, of course, I'm excited. We're going to be talking about law of cause and effect. We talked about this previously a little bit. We touched on this a little bit, but I really feel like this is so important, especially with everything that we've been talking about with, how your thoughts, your emotions, your frequency, all of that, how it brings in what you have access to, and also kind of how you see life. And so law of cause and effect is like um basically what you think, what you do, what you say does have a consequence. There's and what they call it in Sanskrit is karma, but karma actually means action. So it's like your actions are what you're having the consequences to. So there's certain things that we have control over and certain things that we don't. So whenever somebody's like mistreating you, if you decide to call them names or act out, well, that was on you. And then you're going to have a consequence to your behavior. You can't really blame it on other people how you choose to act or think, even though people could have programmed you to be that way, like your parents or your friends or people that you've hung out with for so long or a partner. If they've been feeding you good stuff or bad stuff, that is going to be what they've been putting inside of you. And if you accepted it, then that's what's also going to come out of you too. So, and sometimes you didn't know you were accepting it because you just didn't know any better. So that lot caused a lot of effect. First, before we really get into this, I'd like to go ahead and just do like a grounding. And so go ahead and close your eyes. Make sure nothing's crossed. Put one hand on your heart and one on your belly. And I want you to breathe in and just breathe out. Do it two more times. Breathe in your nose and breathe out your mouth. And whenever you're ready, just open up your eyes. So we're diving into cause and effect. Why life isn't just happening to you by accident, things aren't random. And even though a guy cut you on traffic, yeah, there was cause for that too. You stump your toe and all of that, it's all energy working together. And I know not all of it's going to make sense when it's happening. And sometimes it may never make sense, but it's not just for you, it's even everybody around you and how that could have led to something else too that needed to happen. So, so let's get curious on this. um, I brought in the Hermetic philosophies, law, the universal laws, and biblical verses. I want to share all of that with you guys. So, the Hermetic philosophy or principle, they teach that every cause has its effect and every effect has its cause. Same thing as law of cause and effect, which you're going to see that all of this stuff goes together. So stuff doesn't just poof out of nowhere. There's always a seed behind the fruit. We do reap what we sow, just not at all times do we know what we're sowing. But like, you're not going to be able to plant like a jalapeno plant and get a strawberry. So like I know that I made a post yesterday saying that what comes out of you, um, what comes out of you was already in you, and I'm like, well, yeah, you could have certain seeds that were planted in you, but that's not your essence. That isn't your true self. Sometimes that's just stuff that's been put in you, bad programming. But you notice your bad programming because it's going to have an effect in your body, in your life. You're going to see it. It's going to cause problems. So, like I've mentioned before, if you guys have a thought loop or a bad thought about something, what's going to happen is you're going to see that in your life, or your problems are actually symptoms to your limited beliefs. So wherever you have limits in your life or the way you think, you're going to see it be a problem in your life. So this is that cause and effect. And it's not for punishment. It's for awareness. If you do this, this is going to happen. Do you still want to do this? It's not like, hey, if you do this, you're going to get punished. It's just no, just know that this is the consequence of doing this. And you may like that. So you get to choose. You may want that. So it's up to you. But if it's not something you want, is that going to be the decision you really want to make? So it all comes down to your awareness of like how you think, how you feel, and how you're choosing to act. Um, so this it's actually good news that there's this law because if you don't like what's been growing in your garden, you can change it.
Okay, I got a question.
Hmm.
That's exactly where I'm stuck at. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think about stuff. I don't, bel I know what you're saying is right, but the other part of me saying I don't think it like that, but I know I do. Like, I've always been taught not to take on debt because it's bad. It gets you in trouble.
Hmm.
And like, right now, I borrowed the most money I've ever borrowed in my life right now.
Yeah.
And I know it's the right move, but I mean, like, what you're saying is all I've ever been taught in my loop is debt's bad. And I'm trying not to make it bad. So tell us how to break out of that.
Well, sometimes it's just using the debt towards something good, like changing that, and then changing that narrative, like just start saying to yourself, there is good debt. And that's how I leverage my money. That's how I make more money off my money. When I use debt correctly, I make more money. Those kind of affirmations would be a good start. But then also start making the decisions that like you put your money, you put your debt in good things. So you don't take out bad debt. You're not just using your credit card to go out to eat. You're not using and then saying, well, that was a marketing mill. But actually knowing that what you put your money into is going to have a return, not a hopeful return. And that's going to help right there is just knowing that this isn't a guess, but this is pretty much I did my due diligence and I know this is a good investment.
Yeah.
You have some of those right now, right?
Oh yeah. Like right now, everything I think is good other than my credit card. I mean the
Yeah.
debt. I mean all the debt that I'm carrying right now is good debt other than the credit card.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I would just be, working on those affirmations. And then also it does take action, like, but it looks like you're taking that action. So once you start getting like the money and the returns from this good debt, then you can have that reinforcement. Be like, yeah, it's definitely true. And now I see it. Um, Yeah, so there was a video that I shared. It was a guy that said, in order to fall asleep, you must pretend you're already asleep. And that's how everything works. So it's almost like a fake it till you make it, but you also don't just want to fake it, you want to be it. I know we've talked about that before, but we can go in more detail on that.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, that's like I pushed myself on some health patterns, and I've gone far enough now. It's like I'll get it done with before I go to sleep, no matter what. So, um, it's easy for me to change patterns in some things, and some things not. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
The deeper the habit, like the longer you've done it, or the more people who've programmed you in that, it's going to be like a deeper wrinkle, a deeper pathway cut in the way to go. So sometimes they're just more difficult because of that. But sometimes it's because there's more tied to that you're just not aware of too.
That's what I'm thinking. That's the hard part. So, okay,
Hmm.
okay. Thanks.
So, whatever a man sows, he reaps. We've talked that about that in the beginning too. So whoever sows injustice will reap calamity. Whoever sows trouble will reap the same. You know how some people say, I don't like drama. So many people bring drama in my life. You know why they're getting drama in their life, right? Because they are the drama. Like they're sowing it. They're creating the environment for it. So whenever people are like, I don't like this or I don't like that, it's like, well, you're telling me what you don't feel like you have control over in your life. If they're still complaining about it, and it's still in their life, it's like, well, you're the one creating the environment for it. And some people may be like, no, I'm not. Okay, then your boundaries wouldn't allow it to happen. Like I don't hang out with I don't hang out with druggies. It's not like I'm ever stuck in a situation where I have to do that, because I just don't put myself in that situation. So it's like whatever you put yourself in, you're gonna have to deal with that. It's interesting hearing people talk about certain things because they'll be telling you like what they're having problems with. Whoever sows sparingly will reap sparingly. Some people are really stingy, and these are Bible verses, by the way. How some people are really stingy, and this is a thing with especially married men or husbands with their wives because they're supposed to be the provider. If the husband is stingy with his wife and not trying to take the best care of her, it will show up in his life. So it's like if you're going to be stingy, you'll get stingy. You won't get as much as you could have gotten because you're holding back. You're withholding, and then that's also the whole energy of like being scared of spending money because you don't think you're going to get any more. So you're coming from a place of lack. And so that's kind of where that comes from. And then whoever sows generously will reap generously. So you get what you give. And it's like, be careful of that. But that's Corinthians 9:6. That you pretty much you're going to get what you give. And that's that energetic boomerang that I was talking about, the boomerang effect. Whatever you put out is what you're going to get back. Make sure that's the energy that you really want. And it's the energy that you're putting out. Like everything else, some people are like, well, I put out this and I'm not didn't get that back. What energy did you put it out in? Did you put it out in abundance? Then you'll get abundance. Did you put it out in lack? Then you'll get lack. Did you put it out in chaos and drama? Well, then you're going to get chaos and drama. So that's just kind of how that works. Um, and then another one in the Bible, they sow the wind and we reap the whirlwind. That's Bible speak for play stupid games, win stupid prizes. So, so yeah, that's if you want better, you have to plant better seeds.
And what verse is that?
That one is Hosea, Hosea. I may be saying it wrong, 8:7. So why does all this matter? Well, because you do reap what you sow. What you put out is what you get. So, like, knowing that, then if you want love, give love. But you can't be giving love in a place where you don't also love yourself, because then you don't have good discernment, good boundaries, and you'll attract people who won't love you because you're going to get what you give. And if you're not giving yourself love, well, you're going to get other people who also don't give you love. So it just keeps on coming back around to you. You got to change the way you're thinking. If you want something to change in your life, you got to change. And so either change your boundaries, whatever it is. So you don't, but the good thing is you don't have to keep on reaping what you've already planted. You can come in, and this is how I think of the ego. So the ego is like, kind of in tune with your nervous system. It's how you physically know that you're here. So it's in tune with that. So the ego is like a farmer. Okay. And you've got a garden, and that's your mind. And you've had people throughout your life, especially the first 7 years, just throwing seeds into your garden. And for the first 7 years, you couldn't stop them. The seeds were just going in there. And this farmer was like, oh, you're giving me these seeds? I'm going to take care of them. And I'm going to make sure they grow so you can get the fruits off of them because you must be giving me this because you need it to survive. So I'm going to make sure you survive. And that's what the ego does and make sure you stay alive. And so then over time you realize you're reaping you're getting fruits that you don't want. And then you look at your mind and all the plants and you got a freaking jungle in there and you don't want all of that stuff in there. It's like, hold on, hold on. Now, if you go in there and you just start ripping it up like there's something wrong with you, well, guess what? The farmer's going to be like, "Oh my God, wait a minute. What are you doing? What are you doing?" And then it's going to freak out, and that's your nervous system freaking out. You know, like when you just try to change things without like grounding yourself and having like a good foundation for making the change. You know, you got to clear those plants out. You don't want to just rip them out without telling the farmer. You want to be like, "Hey, I'm safe. This is what we want to do now." You know, like you did a great job up to this point on helping me survive, and I really appreciate everything to this point that I've learned. But let's change some stuff in the garden. Okay? So instead of being this way, we want this instead. And then you work with yourself. You're compassionate, you're patient, you're not forceful, you're not angry, you're not trying to like make it happen in you. You're just supporting yourself to make it happen. Does that make sense? There's a difference between like forcing it on yourself and then wanting it and allowing it. Yeah, if it doesn't make sense, let me know and I'll explain it more. Okay, so um, the problem is along the way, trauma plants seeds without us knowing, no matter how old we are, and it affects our nervous system. Old programming plant seeds that we don't even believe in anymore, but they're still sprouting weeds in our life. And this is where you have to go in and you have to come up and say to your nervous system, okay, I'm safe. How, let's do this. And then it's like getting an idea of what do you want. And this is why we did the ideal life worksheet in the very beginning. So like what do you want in your life? What kind of relationships? What kind of friendships? What kind of like hobbies do you want? What kind of like how do you want to feel in your employment? How do you want to, do you want to travel with your family? All that. You get to decide. And then you get to decide, am I acting in alignment to the person that can have these things? Because that's what your resistance is going to be, where you can figure out where are my limiting beliefs? Why do I think I need to have this to have this? What's going on here? What's the difference? So once you catch on that how you're thinking, how you're feeling, what you're doing is really creating your life outside of you, you can stop for a second. Because last time what we were talking about was law of correspondence. And it's basically you got to be careful what you're putting out into the universe and how you're thinking. Because like the moment you think a different thought outside of what's in alignment for you, you just created another thing. So every time, so it's not like, just thinking about it, but it's actually staying on the thought that gives it power. The longer you stay on that thought, the more power you give it. You're feeding into it. You're staying on that channel. So you're going to see more of that channel when you stay on that thought. So it's like you can switch the channel. You don't have to stay on there. But just know the longer you stay on there, the more of that channel you're going to get. So that's that law of correspondence. But the law of cause and effect is you chose the channel. That's what you're seeing it now. And so it's like, do you want that channel? Okay, then get off the channel. If you don't want to be broke anymore, quit thinking about how broke you are. If like, and quit thinking about how hard it is to get money or how, like, why is it this way or why is it that way? Instead, be like, every day, wake up from a state of abundance. And every time you notice that negative thought loop coming up of like, I need to make money, I need to make money, or I need to do this, I need to do this, stop yourself, ground, calm that nervous system because it's your nervous system going all crazy because you're feeling like you need to survive, you know? And so you go into survival mode. And when you're in survival mode, what happens?
No, it spirals.
Yeah, it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And what level are you in? Are you in power or are you in force?
Hell, generally you're forcing everything.
Mm-hmm. So
And that's the hard part as a man. we think we can force our way through everything.
You guys do have that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was just like when you were talking about the husband and wife relationship earlier, not gonna lie, you kicked it up a little bit there. And because like we don't know how to, it's not right, I don't know. We struggle. Like I know several guys, they take care of their wives, they give them everything. I mean, I got a buddy like, I'm like, you're crazy. Hell, you're just crazy. He gives her everything and he doesn't mind giving it to her. But when he gives her everything, she takes even more.
Well, see, that's another thing though. Um, if you're a giver and you get with a taker, it's not like that spiral of energy of masculine and feminine where they lean on each other and they become stronger because the masculine and feminine have to give each other energy. And that's what like really lights up and creates that spark, creates that creativity. But if a masculine is only given to the feminine and the feminine is not giving back to the masculine, isn't multiplying what the masculine is giving it, she's not really doing her role. She's just taking. And that's not femininity. That's not even feminine energy. That's just toxic. That's a lack of something right there. And so this is where we have to discern, are we willing to be in a relationship with someone that's one-sided? Now, I wouldn't recommend it because you're only going to get drained and you won't ever get to the level that you could have if you were with the right partner. But yeah, that's not being in like feminine energy or anything.
Okay. Okay. Cause see, like when I was married, I could literally get a bonus check and I'd stuff it in my pocket where, cause I'd hide it for a rainy day or something.
Mhm.
Literally, I'd pay my church tithes and I'd be told, well, we owe $88 to the doctor. But when I got so confused at it now that you said, me and her could do a house together and I'd just give it to her at sheetrock. I'd be like, it's yours. Do whatever, go play, however you want to do. And she'd come back and it'd have 7 or 8 different colors, and you could say all this, and people are like, that's hideous. And I'd be like, just wait. And it's freaking gorgeous.
See, that's masculine and feminine working together. You gave her the sheetrock, you gave her the blank slate, you gave her the container, and then she came in and filled it with beauty. That is the masculine and feminine coming together.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, that's where we struggled so bad is because we could do it part of the time.
Yeah. You know, where you grow the most is actually in the areas you have your biggest problems. So, like, if you're willing to work it out with somebody that you have a bigger problem with, it's the key is like finding somebody that'll work it out with you instead of being somebody like, there's nothing wrong with me, it's you. You know, as long as both can take accountability and be like, hey, I want to work this out with you. If you got like, even like if you're with somebody who initially seems toxic, okay, like dismissive, avoidant, got a bad attachment style, just a toxic one if they are willing to take accountability and do the work on themselves, and you are too, that could be one of the strongest relationships that will teach you the most. Sometimes we're not able to do the work though. And sometimes the other person is not willing to do the work. It has to take two. It takes two to do the work.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing about relationships is you can have one-sided relationships, but it will drain you. So you have to have two-sided ones. If you want to live the life that is meant for you, you can't have one-sided relationships. Like discernment and boundaries are necessary. It even says in the Bible over and over about boundaries and discernment because they're so important for your heart, for your thoughts, for your frequency, everything. And if you've got somebody in your life that you enjoy their time or something, but all they do is take from you, you get to decide whether or not you want that. But you have to also know that this is an energy link in your life and you're not going to be at the level that you could have been if you didn't have that relationship taking from you. When people don't give back, it's like they're taking your life force because your energy is your life force.
It's not like it is.
Huh?
It's not like it is. I mean, that's
Oh, it
exactly.
is. Yeah.
Uh, and I'm not talking about my ex-wife. We had somebody else involved in our life that was just. It's amazing the difference when those people leave.
Oh, yeah, you know how some people will be like, "Oh, you want to ever find somebody like me?" It's like, good. And some people are like, "Well, you were like this, you're toxic, you're abusive because you've been dealing with abuse so long that you're now in a reactive abusive state where you'll yell it back or, whatever it is that you may do." Because that happens a lot in super toxic relationships is the victim starts becoming the perpetrator. The abused becomes the abuser. But just out of a reaction of like, quit jabbing at me, like, and they're finally tired of it, but they don't know how to create boundaries appropriately. So like whenever you have that happen, uh, well, it's totally giving away your life force at an exponential level at that point, whenever you're that upset. But it's like you can't you can't be your best self around that. And it depletes you so much. I forgot where I was going with that, but what did you say right before I started talking? And then I'll probably
Oh,
remember.
talking about how they literally suck the life out of you.
Oh yeah, like that's why they say energy vampires completely. And even people who trauma dump, people who just talk about all the bad things going on in their life all the time, like, oh my God, girl, you don't know what just happened, and going, they're even energy vampires, like because they need that constant. Um, and guess what? I was one of those at one point when I was in a toxic relationship. In the beginning of it, I was like complaining about everything. And like anybody who would listen, I was telling them about it.
Okay,
To,
but
you
did
know,
people dump on you though at that point in your life?
oh yeah. Yeah. So I was used to it. So like we dumped on each other, you
Yes, I'm
know?
talking about.
Yeah, it was like trauma bonding with my friends. Yeah. Um, or with anybody who wanted to trauma bond with me, you know? So I was totally in it. What's crazy is at the time it felt great to do it, to talk about it all instead of having to do something about it. Because when you're talking, you feel like you are. And I used to be like, I just need to vent. I just need to let it out because I don't know what to do in this situation. I wish one of those people would have told me, choose better. Like it's your decisions that's getting you here. Why are you with someone you don't even like? Like, don't you think they could also find somebody better? Like so many things. Um, but yeah, but once you become aware of this, you really get to get your power back because what this class is all about, get your shit together is really about gaining your power back, getting your power back and realizing all the power you really have in your life. You don't have to live in a garden of weeds. You can actually start sowing what you want now. And what's crazy is that, and this is physics, they've proved this, that if you just start changing yourself right now, not only does your future change, but your past does too. It's weird how that works.
Okay, I believe you, but you're going to explain that.
So how your where your frequency is how you see things. So it's like your filters. And the higher up you are, the less filters you have, you can actually see truth for what it is, right?
Okay, hold on a second. Is this like when people see they're at the same event, but they got three different stories?
Yes. So even though the past still is the same, you see it differently because of the frequency you're in now. You see a different side to it. You can have a different flashlight turned on in a dark room.
Okay, this is so funny. Me and my mom was talking about this the other day, and there was some stuff that went on one time that was freaking hilarious. And she goes, "I didn't do that." Oh yeah, you did.
Yeah. Yeah, and like, but it's like, it's like us all going into a dark room with our own flashlights. So your point of view is only pointing at that particular part in the room. And if everyone came in with all of their own points of views, the whole room would be lit up and you would see that everybody was actually right about their point of view. It's just what is their point of view focused on? You know, like somebody may be seeing shag carpet, another person may be seeing a chandelier. Neither one of them is wrong. It's just that we're willing to actually listen to each other instead of like judge and act like somebody's wrong, or if for me to be right, somebody else has to be wrong. What if we're all right? Even the crazy ones. What if they're seeing something outside of the dimensions we can see? If they were in a tribe, they would actually be medicine men. You know, so like they would be trained with certain abilities. So, like, what if everyone is right about what they're seeing? That really can expand your mind to realize that there's no reason to argue with anyone. It's just more about understanding and being more aware of it. Now, if somebody wants to still say the grass is blue, what if that's what they see? What if they're colorblind? There's no point in arguing with that person. And even if they're right, or even if they're wrong, still not a point in arguing with them. But it's like, you know, we just always think that if somebody else is saying that there's a chandelier and you're seeing a fan, you think they're wrong. But it's just, yeah. So yeah, your flashlight now can point out a different direction and different frequencies. So you see different points of views and you see different things. And actually, the higher the frequency, the more light you have on the room. So you don't just have a flashlight. You know, at the bottom, you have like a little bitty pin light, you know, and shame and guilt. And if you can imagine, as you're going up the scale and the map of consciousness, your light actually becomes bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger so that you can see all of the room without everybody else's points of view. So you see the truth. Does that make sense? That's why it's hard for us to see the truth in the bottom levels. It's because our point of view is so small. We only see part of it. So, yeah, so that's why it's different when you look back at the past, is because you don't see it the same way anymore. And it does seem to change it like this. So there's this also other part, like, you know, the timelines that I told you all about too. So this is multi-dimensional in a way, like on how it all comes together. But the different timelines. So like when you hop onto a new timeline, and let's say that with timelines, every time you could make a decision, you made all those decisions and it created new timelines. And so there's one timeline you said yes, one that you said no, one that you just didn't make any decision. And so all those are happening, and you have the ability to hop on different timelines. And so, like, when you stomp your toe and you get in a bad mood, guess what timeline you're going into? You're going into a more negative timeline. So, this is where you probably get into a car wreck. You have this happen. But the moment you think positively again, you just jumped into a new timeline. Each timeline is a different frequency. You know, it's like a different radio station. And this is why you see different things in these different radio stations, these different channels. So if you think of the timelines being different channels, then when you change the channel into a higher timeline, then the past of that timeline is going to be a little different than the other timeline. Does that make sense? So that's also another way that the past changes. So it's not just that your frequency sees it differently, but your frequency actually tapped into a different timeline too. And not everybody was in that same timeline as you. So when people have different stories, it may not be because they're remembering it differently, but they're in different areas than you. Like the whole flashlight thing, but on a whole nother level. So
Yeah,
okay. Mhm.
that makes a lot of sense because yeah, because like I've tried to, me and my brother has, me and both of my brothers have tried to do business deals together,
Mhm.
and we don't see the things the same way, so that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. You have to be like on the same page. And when people say that, like it's pretty much be on the same timeline, be in the same kind of mindset too, so that you can grow together in these timelines. You know, you don't always be on the same one, but like you want to be pretty close to each other or you grow apart. So it's like, yeah.
Is that why people keep coming back sometimes?
Yeah. But it's also so I feel like timelines are like up and down, but they're not. It's not linear. It's like spirals in a way. So yeah, things are going to come back around, cycles are going to happen, and all of that, depending on what is there for you too.
Yeah, that's funny because I've got somebody that just keeps coming back. It's weird.
There's something in there for you. And you just ask what's it what do I need to know about the situation? So that's actually funny because that comes in the next thing that we're about to do. So
Okay.
there's a link that I just sent in to you guys. Go ahead and open that up. And there's some Bible verses on this on cause and effect too. Galatians 6:7. Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. Whatever a man sows, that he will also reap. Proverbs 22:8. Whoever sows injustice will reap calamity, and the rod of his fury will fail. As I have seen, those who plow inequity and sow trouble reap the same. Oh, yeah, that was pretty much everything. So, what is one repeating effect that you notice in your life? Like this person coming back around, whatever it is for you guys, you can just put it in. What's a repeating thing? And this is kind of goes back to like how to identify the problem, your limiting belief. This is kind of the same thing. And then what thought, habit, belief might be creating this effect? Like, how do you believe about this?
Oh, this one number two. I mean, like this person I'm talking about. I mean, I fully believe she is a complete pain in the ass.
So that may be why she keeps coming back around. You have to accept her and actually love her for who she is.
But the deal is, I do.
Oh, okay. But you can't be thinking you're a pain in the ass and loving somebody at the same time. I know some people do that jokingly, like, you're a pain in the ass, but I love you anyways. They don't really go together.
Well, I mean, that's not the way I see her. I mean,
Okay.
I mean, uh, the pain in the ass part with me and her is it's like you were talking about. It's just a running circle with me and her. Um, we just keep coming back, and so like when you say there's something there for it, we're like we've tried to figure this out for quite some time. What is the what, and so
Is it an X?
yeah, we dated for a while. Yeah, we're still friends though. I mean, we I was talking to her before. I was talking to her before we got on here, and I mean,
Yeah.
basically we're pretty close to the same without dating each other. So, I mean, we just talk. I mean, that's it. I mean, we don't see each other, but we do a little bit of business together and stuff. So, but
Maybe she's just supposed to be in your life.
oh, we've always felt like that. So,
Yeah. Yeah, y'all may be just one of those. So there's like, I mean, we kind of travel in soul groups, and she may just be part of your soul group, like literally like a soulmate. And so y'all have certain things that y'all teach each other.
oh, we have, yeah.
And as long as y'all can just enjoy the lessons and enjoy each other's company. And then when you can't, that's going to show you an area that you guys can grow.
Yeah. Well, been the funny part with both of us is nobody else is in our lives before has showed the other one that spot. So it's comical.
Oh, that's good. Then this is a good teacher. You are each other's teachers. So whenever we talk about soulmates, you're there to teach each other stuff.
Yeah.
So then I want y'all to write down, like, call it out, like, what might be behind this, that thought, like, no shame, just clarity. Like, you can blame whatever you want. This is where it's going to start coming out. And then, how has trauma or past programming played a role in planting this cause? And then, what new thought would you like to plant instead? What new action, belief? This is going to be your new affirmation, your new action step. And guys, keep it simple. Keep it simple. Like if it's a money problem, then your new belief can be I make money easily and it comes in from areas unknown and known, and they're all safe areas. You know, I money is attracted to me. When I spend money, I make 4 times the amount back. I get paid to exist. People love to pay me. It could be those kind of beliefs. Or if it's like a relationship, you can be like, I don't have to get ready for a relationship. The right person will show up at the right time. I don't have to search for them. I will attract them. They are attracted to me. And I have options. It's not just one. I have plenty of options and I get to choose the best. And the best one sticks out. And, whatever that you want, you just start putting it out there and actually just staying consistent with that thought and belief. And anytime you notice yourself getting outside of that thought and belief, dropping it, letting it go. Stop tuning into that channel, tuning into that frequency. You don't want that. So then don't stay on that. It's okay to acknowledge you got on it, okay? You're not, this is just part of the process. You're still got that little pathway to go down that way. So you're going to find yourself still going to that channel, like a pre-programmed channel. But that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. That shows you how much once you get programmed, how easy it is for it to happen for you. So you just need to reprogram. So once that program is in, you don't have to work so hard. It's like you don't have to think about driving anymore because you've been doing it for so long. You don't have to think about walking anymore because you've been doing it for so long. So this is the same thing. It's an autopilot thing that happens. And when you notice yourself going on autopilot and old habits, stop yourself, become aware. Okay. It's that consciousness, that awareness. That's the first step. Being present. And then being like, okay, what do I do now? How can I take it? Okay, I need to go right down the other path so I can cut that path down enough so I can start doing this naturally. But any moment that you think of the other thing, you got to stop yourself and take yourself back and be like, it's okay. Be compassionate, be patient with yourself. There's nothing wrong with you doing that. In the whole grand scheme of right and wrong. No, there's nothing wrong with you doing that. That's human. That's natural. And understanding that and being compassionate with yourself and then saying, but you know what? I don't want to go down that path. Okay, I'm going to go down this one. And then celebrate yourself. You're like, you're so awesome. I'm so glad that you're so mindful. I'm so glad that you have the ability to change your in the middle and go this way. And that's going to reprogram you. And also giving that positive reinforcement to yourself is going to help you keep going that other way. Being compassionate with yourself. And the more you're being compassionate, patient with yourself, guess what? Everyone around you is going to start being more that way too. Not every single person, but you're going to find that more often. And then what action step can you take this week to begin planting these new seeds? Maybe posting those affirmations on your mirror, putting a picture of you as a kid with those affirmations on the mirror, knowing that you are now the one in charge. You get to make the decisions. You get to make that little person's dreams come true. So remember, you reap what you sow, plant truth, peace, and love in your life will reflect that harvest. You reap what you sow. Your roots produce your fruits. And so this is just if y'all can identify something this week that you notice has been a problem, and know how can I change what I'm doing to get to something different? How am I thinking a negative thought against what I really want, and how can I change that? And then start asking, how can it get any better than this? Okay, so you guys have any questions?
No, lots to think about, though. Those are
Mhm.
pretty deep questions. So, yeah, I'll be working on them.
Oh, I like that, Audra. You're like Isaiah 55:11. So is my word that goes out from my mouth. It will not return to me empty, but will accomplish what I desire and achieve the purpose for which I sent it. Oh, I love that. And the more we chase after things though, the more they run away. Exactly. That's exactly what happens. The more we chase, the more, because we're forcing. And we're basically saying, you know what it is? It's saying, I don't have faith. I lost hope. So I don't have faith. And faith is the magic sauce. Like once you have, and faith is not just a hope, it's a knowing it's already yours. That knowing puts you in a whole nother frequency. That's why faith can make anything happen. There's no like worriness. You're not you're not trying to chase after it because it's already happened for you. Law of detachment is already natural in faith because you don't need to worry about it. And like in law of detachment, you know what, we can do law of detachment next because it's such a good one. I'm gonna write this in my notes so I don't forget. But that's old. Once you have you ever noticed that once you let go of like trying to find something, that's when you find it? They say that about relationships as to anything, like when you're looking for your keys and all of a sudden you sit down there they are. Um, or you found your sunglasses on top of your head after you've been looking all day. But yeah, so it's like that law of detachment is because without feeling like if you feel like you need something, that's definitely going to push it away because it's now. Yeah, have you ever been around somebody that's needy? Did you want to hang out with them?
I don't want to hang out with myself
Right.
when I'm 80.
I know you don't want to hang out with yourself when you're needy. Is that what you said?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, because that energy is just gross feeling, right? You're just like, oh, I want to get away from this. And I'm not calling the person gross, I'm calling the energy. Like you're just kind of like, get off me. It's almost like
yeah,
it's calling onto you. Hmm?
but most people don't know the difference in that, the two,
What? Between what?
the energy and the actual person.
Well, the person themselves. Honestly, we're all made from God, so we come from the energy of love, and peace and enlightenment. That's where that's our true essence. And anything that's not that is really just is a bad programming that we've received. But the energy, so like a person is more than just one energy at one time because they can have certain emotions, and that's the energy that's flowing through their body at that moment. But that isn't a determinant of who that person is, but how they frequently show up is going to let you know what you can expect out of them. You know, but I'm one of those, like, if somebody, this is also where the boundaries and discernment comes in. Now, if somebody goes and hits me, I'm not going to hang out with them because I'm like, well, they have good energy. That was just a one-time thing. No, you get to decide. But I wouldn't ever judge somebody, like a person themselves, as like bad, if that makes sense. Like, I do think some people have been taken over by like something else.
Oh, yeah.
But them themselves, not the attachment, them themselves came from God. So I just pray for those people. Yeah, but okay. Any other questions? All right, well, next time we're going to talk about law of detachment. I love law of detachment because this is where really things start happening is when you learn how to finally detach and not be worried about it coming in. When you're like, throw your hands up in the air and it's like, okay, God, I don't know what else to do, you know, be still and know that I am God kind of thing. Like, all right. And then this is when you allow God. See, this is the part of it that most people don't understand. You have to give it back to God. You can put out what you want, but you've got to let go and surrender to what you're wanting so God can do the rest. The universe could do the rest, whatever you want to call it. Like it's got to be able to do the rest. You can't control everything. And when you're trying to control it, you lost faith. And the only way that you can let God work in your life is through faith. And that's why faith can bring you anything that you want because now you're tapped in alignment with God. And you're like, God, I trust you. I'm going to give it to you the rest of the way. But we also got to know what's our part, what's God's part. Like there was this joke. This woman kept on praying to God to win the lottery. I think I've told y'all. And then finally God speaks and says, "Play the lottery." Because she wasn't playing the lottery but wanted to win it. It's like there's certain things God can't do for you. You got to do it yourself. But let him meet you the rest of the way. But yeah, we'll talk about law of detachment next time. And if there's anything that y'all can think of that y'all want to add into that, please share it with me in school and we'll have it in there. But I'll see you guys next Tuesday.
Mitzi, I have one question. So
Okay.
when I'm thinking of it like I want to make $250,000 this year, for example, right?
Uh-huh.
So is it the sales? Because on my jewelry store, my sales are more than that. So if I'm attracting 250, how should I be saying it? Like my profit or what? Like how will that work?
Be as specific as possible. The more specific, the better. Because
Okay.
that makes the focus could be on there. So if you want to make, you can say, I want $250,000 in my bank account. Or you can be like, I want to make net $250,000 this year.
Okay.
And it won't be, I want to.
Right.
It'll be, I did.
I am making 250,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. I'll see you guys again next week. You have a great day.